This is a story of tugs, and it's a story about me, Captain Cook, and I own the Star Tugs, and how they were working in Big City Port. Let the tugs introduce you to them. Let the tugs introduce themselves to you. This is a story about me, 10 cents, and me, Sunshine, and all of our friends. And of course, we have some enemies of the Z-Stacks. They're not being very friendly, you see. And how he learned of how to get things done, but we ran into trouble. This is the first Tugs annual story called Loading Grain, and I am going to tell you the story based on the Tugs series. When you hear 10 Cents' whistle or Sunshine's whistle, which sounds like this, turn the page. Listen to that sound again. And the other one. Now, let's begin. It was a very busy time in Big City Port. There was a lot of work to be done, and the Star Tugs and the Z-Stacks were steaming round at top speed, almost running into one another, as they hurried about their work. "Sorry," cried Sunshine, as he dodged past Sally seaplane, causing her to rock to and fro from his wake. "Oh Jay, come over here," shouted 10 Cents. "There's a large consignment of grain waiting in the dock, and you're to transport it out to Izzy Gomez for him to take up the coast." "Coming, 10 Cents," replied OJ. "I'll be right there." This was one of the few occasions when the Star Tugs and the Starfleet and the Z-Stacks were working on the same job. The Stars are keeping a suspicious eye on the Z-Stacks in case they got up to any mischief. However, so far, they seem to be behaving themselves. Up and down they steamed along all day, transporting the grain to Izzy Gomez, around the Jolly, and off to the place to get some grain from Scuttlebutt Pete, with the crane working with him. Izzy Gomez's tramp steamer was groaning silently. With each load, he sank lower into the water. By the afternoon, the tugs had nearly finished. They were just waiting for Scuttlebutt Pete, who had a crane working with him, to finish loading the last of the barges. The tugs jostled with one another, hoping to be the first to have his barge filled, so they could get away. Warrior, one of the Star Tugs, is at the front. "Hey, stop pushing! Wait till I've finished," he shouted. But the other tugs took no notice. Zoran, leader of the Z-Stacks, steamed up and clipped Warrior on his side, pushing him forwards. "What are you doing?" cried Warrior as he swung round. "Wait till I've finished." Crash! The grain which had meant to fill Warrior's barge poured out of the crane bucket straight on top of Warrior, completely smothering him. "What's going on?" Oh, scuttlebutt, Pete. I'm sorry, Arya. I couldn't help it. I'd already released the lever before you moved. He sounded quite angry and was worried. The other tugs would think he'd done it on purpose. Warren was choking and spluttering, unable to get his breath. It's not my fault, he coughed. Someone pushed me. Sorry, warrior, smirked Zoran. Someone pushed me into you. I couldn't help it. You okay, warrior? Asked Big Mac. Yeah, gasped warrior. Was about to sneeze. I think I'm gagged up through. He gave an enormous sneeze, knitted it so clouds of grain flew off him and landed all over Zoran, the nearest tug. Dirty piles of grain. Ugh, yuck. I hate when you do that, said Zoran. Sorry, Zoran, grinned Warrior. I couldn't help it. And that's the end of this week's story. See you all very shortly for the next story. This is a story about me, Zoran, the roughest, toughest and naughty tug of the Z-Stacks, and how my assistant Zip and Zug brought in something which I didn't realise. It was the wrong tug. Mistaken identity. When you hear Sunshine's whistle, turn the page. It was a dull, wintry day in Big City Port. A thick sea mist was swirling round, shrouding everything in a damp blanket of fog and making the tug shiver. Zip and Zug, two of the Z-Stacks, were creeping across the harbour, trying to see their way. Hey, Zug, shouted Zip, what's that over there? The Z-Stacks crept quietly towards a large shape looming through the fog. It's a bird ship, said Zug. It must have drifted in with the tide. What shall we do about it? We can't leave it drifting loose. It might cause an accident, said Zip thoughtfully. They tied their bird to an nearby buoy and went to tell Zoran. Well done, grinned Zoran. I can sell that bird to Burke and Blair, the scrap merchants, and make a handsome profit. Zoran went to alert Burke and Blair, leaving Zip and Zug to tow their boat. By this time it was quite late. Darkness had fallen and the fog was even more thicker than it was before. Out in the bay, RJ, there to stop the star tugs, was feeling tired and fed up. He'd lost his glasses specs the other day, earlier that day, and as he crossed the harbour, he bumped into something solid. He couldn't find his way round it, so in the end decided to stay where he was until daylight. It was no use him trying to find his way back to the Star Pier in this fog. He settled down to sleep. Across the harbour, Zip and Zug were steaming round in circles, trying to find their boat. It must be somewhere, Zip, Zug, muttered Zip.